What's up, guys? It's been a while since I've been in the shop. Well, just kidding. I've been in the shop for a little bit, but it's been a while since I've recorded anything. And today is D-Day. And what do I mean by that? Well, today is the day I have to make the decision of whether or not I'm going to Road America, because it's Wednesday. Road America is this weekend. And realistically speaking, if I'm going to that event, I'd have to leave tomorrow morning, like first thing in the morning. If you take a look at the car, doesn't seem like I'm gonna be doing that. Oh my God, it's sunny. I'm not going. I made the decision that I'm not really close to the car being together to kind of rush to put it back together to end up going to Road America, because I have the trans completely apart. Here's honestly the real reason why I'm not going to Road America. Number one, the experiment that I ran at Mid-Ohio, which was heavy car, more power, more tire setup, didn't really perform as well as I would have hoped at Mid-Ohio. Honestly, the straight line didn't really improve all that much. I think I maybe got 2 miles per hour in the straightaway, and I was still getting passed on the straightaway. Essentially, I slightly improved straight line performance, but the handling of the car, it just was not there. I don't want to throw the Falcons under the bus, the 285s. I think the bigger issue that I had was I just didn't have any time to test it. I kind of got screwed because it rained on the test day, so I missed out on three long sessions that I could have made a lot of setup changes. It rained in practice at the event, so the first time I ran that heavyweight setup with the 285 Falcons was in qualifying. And then I went into race one. Race one was kind of drying conditions, so it was still sketchy. Race two was the first actual dry race. Held the lead for a little bit, ended up losing it. You know, the V8 cars just drove right around me. So long story short, the car didn't really improve much in straight line speed, and the handling wasn't really where I wanted it to be, right? So I kind of made the car maybe a little bit worse than what it was before. Because with the lightweight formula, the car outhandled everybody. It was so good at handling, and it struggled a little bit more in straight line, but I felt like I could really make up a lot more time in the corners. So basically, I was hoping to have better performance in the straight line at Mid-Ohio, and if the car performed like I hoped it would at Mid-Ohio, that was gonna be my decision to go to Road America. Because Road America, it's got a lot more longer straights. It's got 3 really long straights that you're almost exceeding 130. And the car just, it didn't give me a lot of confidence that it was gonna do well at Road America. So I made the decision to skip Road America. You know, that's kind of multiple reasons, right? Number one, which I just explained, was I don't think the car is gonna be competitive there with either setup, the high horsepower, high weight setup or the low horsepower, lightweight setup. I don't think the car would do well either way. And then two, more importantly, I've had the worst streak of luck at Road America that I just do not feel like going through all that again. I crashed the EG hatch there in 2021. I think 2023, I completely melted the front brakes on that car because the pedal box seized up. Up. 2024, last year, I crashed into Austin Hurdle because there was a huge wreck in front of him. So I honestly don't feel like going back there. That's kind of the plain truth. Don't feel like going back there because I've had bad luck. I don't want to crash the car, and I don't think the car's gonna be competitive. And it's a long tow, it's a lot of money, yada yada. So like I said, today was a decision for me to go or not to go. As you can tell, I'm not going. I'm actually working on a little mid-season refresh for the transmission because it desperately needed it. And there's a lot of things that I found that were not good. Let's get into a quick summary as to the transmission teardown. So number one of the main reasons why I wanted to tear the transmission down was to actually get the limited slip differential sent out for a rebuild. So my dude, Jonathan Lugod, he works at Shaftworks USA. So he does a lot of, shock rebuilds. And then he also works on, he's got OsGiken, like he'll rebuild diffs and stuff like that. So that was the main reason why I wanted to take the trans out, was to get this sent out to him. And what I expected was gonna happen was I'd have to ship this all the way out to California. I was hoping Jonathan was gonna take his time, really go through it, and then, take his time to ship it back, to the point where I wouldn't even have the limited slip differential right now. So that would have made my decision to not go to Road America a lot easier. However, he basically rebuilt it in one day and then expedited it back, and then I had it earlier this week. So I could have put this all back together and got the car ready, but like I said, I already explained why I don't want to go. But I was hoping that Jonathan was gonna make that decision easier for me. He didn't. So I guess that's great customer service from him. But yeah, shout out to Jonathan Lugod for the rebuild. I've been kind of feeling that the car hasn't had the throttle on corner exit oversteer that I've experienced in the past with, good setup front wheel drive cars. You would expect a front wheel drive car to kind of understeer once you apply the throttle mid corner, but with this diff, dude, it just hooks you in and it just keeps turning. Like it's magic sauce. But I feel like I've kind of lost a little bit of that lately. And I noticed that especially at Mid-Ohio. I was thinking that it was mostly due to the Falcon tires that, they were probably too wide for the rim that I was using, the 285s on 10.5. But, I was like, you know what? I kind of had a conversation with James Houghton. He was like, dude, get that diff rebuild. It's been a while. Cause honestly, I don't remember the last time I had this checked. Probably since I had the hatch. So this diff's a few years old now. So I hit up Jonathan. I was like, hey man, can I send the diff in for you to check it? And he was like, well, I've never seen OsGiken diffs have wear. They're usually good for life. And I was like, yeah, but I'd still like you to check it. So I sent it anyway. And basically, long story short, I don't know why I keep saying that. All my stories are long. What Jonathan said is all of the clutch plates in this diff were basically polished. He says he's never seen that before. He doesn't really know what's the reason for it. Maybe it's overheating, or maybe it was the fluid. He actually thinks it's because of the Motul fluid that I run. So I've been running just the standard 75W90 non-additive. So this is just Motul Gear 300. And he thinks that fluid is causing the clutch disc to polish. Yeah, he replaced all of the disc, and then he told me that I should switch to Torco SGO. Once again, 75W90. So that's what I'm gonna do. So that's kind of the biggest reason for this whole disassembly. And I think this is a fantastic finding, I guess you can say, right? Like this is good news. If I finally have a diff that works a little bit better, that's gonna be awesome at tight tracks, especially low speed, corner exits. This would have been fantastic in the keyhole, fantastic in carousel at Mid-Ohio. All the slow speed corners, this diff is gonna do wonders now. So fully fresh, completely rebuilt, new clutches, ready to go. All I gotta do is just put my ring gear on. And then, yeah, other than that, just going through the transmission, kind of gear by gear, synchro by synchro. Transmission wise, with the gears at least, everything looked pretty good. However, there were a few things that were not so good. So let me zoom in. So this might be tough for you guys to see, but this is the slider assembly for 3.4, right? So boom, boom. She pretty chewed up, especially on this side going into fourth gear. So it's gonna be hard for you guys to see it, but basically every one of these teeth is pretty much destroyed. So luckily I have a bunch of spares in my spares bin package. So I actually found a sleeve that's a little bit better, and I got some really nice files from Amazon Prime, and I kind of just cleaned it up a little bit, made sure there was no major burrs. And then another thing that was really bad was these snap ring. This guy is mangled. It's got a bunch of dents in it. It's not round anymore. I had luckily brand new set of Synchrotech rings that I installed on all the Synchros. So yeah, it's gonna shift a lot better. I had some spare Synchros as well. So I have a bunch of Synchros that some are used, some are new. I put a brand new Synchro in the 3.4. So that's gonna feel a little bit better. And then I replaced a few of the Synchros 5.6 because 5.6 was getting a little tough as well. But yeah, this is a pretty sweet transmission setup. It's an EP3 first, second. GearX 3, 4, and then I believe an RSX Type S 5th. And then I actually use, this is a TSX 5th, and I have this little adapter right here. So shout out to Evan McLaren, he actually hooked me up with this piece. And it allows me to run a 5th gear as a 6th. Well, hold on. You gotta put that bearing on there. Yeah, so you can run a 5th gear as a 6th. So it's a super close ratio gear stack. Yeah, it's pretty sick. And the other nice thing about this is it uses a single cone style, right? So sleeve, single cone synchro. So the difference between a single cone and then a dual cone is that the dual cone essentially has 3 parts, right? The synchro, the ring in the middle, and like the clutch, I would say. Whereas this is kind of clutch material on the synchro. This guy kind of sits right in there. The disc is attached to this gear. Boom, there you go. That's a single cone synchro. Dual cone, dual cone, dual cone, single cone. But yeah, everything else looks great. The gears, I've never had gear issues, which is awesome. I basically just have synchro issues and slider issues because I'm shifting fast, right? And you're gonna go through these parts pretty quick. But yeah, it's nice that I had a bunch of spares and I basically kind of rebuild most of this with just spares. The only thing I am waiting on is a new top bearing. So this guy was actually pretty hard to get off. I had to use a bearing puller to get that off. And another issue that I had with this trans is I actually couldn't get the C-clip out. So I had to cut the end and I had to pull the C-clip out. And I believe the reason for that, there's just a ton of debris, and debris sometimes gets caught behind that C-clip and then you can't get that C-clip out. So like everything was stuck and it was just a pain in the butt. Transmission is gonna be rebuilt. It's gonna be really nice. It's gonna be fresh. It's gonna shift much better. I did find another issue with the trans bracket. Hasport has been kind of a supporter for I don't know, probably 10 years now. They helped me on the EG Hash, they helped me on all my projects. They're the homies. Those guys are awesome. Brian Gillespie, they're rad. But yeah, I was taking this transmission bracket apart and I noticed that it has a few cracks, unfortunately, by the welds. I let Brian know, and he actually wants this bracket back to inspect it and see why it cracked, and he's gonna send me a replacement. So yeah, it's unfortunate that it cracked, but honestly, this bracket has been on the car for 4 years, and as you know, the car has taken a lot of abuse. It's been in a few accidents, so this might have cracked because of Road America last year. I don't know, or it might have just cracked because of all the harsh vibrations. I use the extremely stiff engine mounts, so the car does have a ton of vibrations, and it is a K-series, right? K-series are known to vibrate themselves to death. I just think it's pretty cool, you know, like I told him that the bracket has some cracks in it, and he wants it back to look at it, and then he sent me out a new one. So once again, shout out to Hasport. Those guys are awesome. So let me finish this transmission up, and then I'll probably explain to you what my plan is for my next event. Not Road America, Lime Rock. Don't really know what to say right now, because got the transmission put back together, closed up, sealed up, got the shift linkage on, got everything on it, and the next step was to categorize all the extra parts that I took out of it, just so I know what spares I have. And I realized, oh, I have a spare, whatever this thing is called, fluid guide. This is not a spare fluid guide. This fluid guide thingy, whatever, belongs inside that transmission. Kind of the same thing happened to me the first time that I took this transit apart. I can't seem to get this C-clip into this groove. I guess it's probably a burr in there or something. I tried to clean it up when I first put this together, but it seems like it's still kind of there because it was extremely difficult to get this bearing to drop down. So I just used my spreader and I put a zip tie, and I just used a punch and a hammer, and I just hammered the bearing down, and it finally released. Normally you should just be able to squeeze that C-clip and the bearing should just drop. Should be no more issues, I hope. There we go. So this stupid thing is what I forgot. This guy will sit in this pocket right there, and then boom. But now I gotta clean off all the gasket, gotta use new Honda Bond gasket. Stupid mistakes, but hey guys, I still make them. I've been doing this for over a decade and I still make mistakes. Much better finding this out now than later because I would have probably destroyed this gearbox. But anyway, let me clean this up, reapply some Honda Bond, and then slap it back together and then install it into the car. I literally just turned off the GoPro and then the next try I got it. It was the plastic piece. It kept falling off. So, oh, what a pain in the ass. Put my gloves back on. I'm not lying, guys. I had it literally right after I turned off the GoPro. So it's on. Pain in the butt. Let's get these bolts in. So that's how I seat the C-clip. You kind of just bounce it, basically drop the transmission like half an inch, not that much, and that should set the C-clip. So everything's torqued, got the fresh Honda Bond, got to clean up this guy, put that on, all that stuff. You see me take it apart, you can just reverse that if you want to see me put it back together. I almost fell. That was about an hour delay. I probably could have done that a little bit quicker, but I was struggling because I'm an idiot. I left the engine in, so this is kind of the way I do this with this transmission. So just kind of got to get it close. You got to shift engine back a little bit, and then we're gonna start lifting. There we go. All right, she's in. Make sure I'm not getting snagged by anything. I'm just gonna say that it's like 90 degrees and the humidity is at 100% today, so I'm not feeling it. Today actually started out as a pretty relaxing garage night until I realized I forgot that plastic piece, and then yeah, it's been downhill ever since. Anyway, let's get this engine assembled. Oh, also, Hasport was kind enough to send me some replacement mounts. So these are actually, they're the U70. So these are like probably right in the middle. I think they have 4 different versions of stiffness, and I think I got the one in the middle, which doesn't make sense because there's really nothing in the middle of 4. But yeah, they're 70A, so they're race inspired, but they're not the super stiff ones like the 82s. I think that's it for me tonight. I'm tired, man. Trans is in. I got it sitting on the engine mount. Road America's happening right now, and I'm here in the shop. I think I'm happy about my decision to not go. Looking at the qualifying times, they seem to actually be okay. My car ran like a low 30, 2-minute 30s. And a pole was 2:29.2, so Matan got pole. Not really surprised there. But I think I could have been a top 3 car at this event. A little bummed I didn't go because of that, but at the end of the day, you know, I need to get more wins. More second places isn't really going to help me in the championship. I have to get wins. And I don't think this car would have beaten Matan at that track, especially at that track. I don't think I would have beaten Emil Tab because he was running super fast as well. His Miata is... But anyway, yeah, I'm here in the shop chilling, just getting this car back together. And yeah, we're gonna get this thing dialed in for Lime Rock. That is my goal, is to show up to Lime Rock and sweep it. Well, we'll see if that actually happens. But anyway, yeah, that's it for me tonight. I'll probably continue a little bit more tomorrow, but I'm exhausted. It's hot in here.
Green flag for GLTC race 1 off into turn 1, 3 wide. And leading turn 2 down into turn 3 here, top of the field. Straightening away, it's Matan Rosenberg out in front. And down into turn 3, Magnussen falls in trail.
It's a great start for Matt Waldbaum, though. Magnussen was able to get a run up underneath the backside from 3rd position of Matan Rosenberg, and it was a poor jump from the inside on the low-powered Miata of Emil Tab. The field still sorting themselves out, double and triple wide down into the braking zone, a little over 130 miles an hour. Tab now coming back on the inside of Waldbaum is going to clear him easily into the braking zone.
For Matan Rosenberg, the championship leader is going to extend his lead. Emil Tab 2nd place in the little Miata that could, then Eric Magnussen, and then it was Aaron Lichty P4. Checkered flag, and Matan Rosenberg, by a smaller margin than we thought, is going to pick up his 7th win of the season by half a car length over Emil Tab. Then it's Magnussen, Lichty, 3rd and 4th. 5th place, Matt Waldbaum.
Waldbaum going, what the heck just happened? He just got passed for 4th by Matan Rosenberg, slinging the car through turn 13. I don't think Rosenberg's going to quite get to Emil, but that kind of recovery is pretty much unheard of. While Waldbaum going for the lunge of the inside just to see if Matan will give it to him. Does not happen. Here we come to the checkered flag.
Up the hill here, Aaron Lichty in the number 66. First win at IBOC GLTC in quite some time. His first weekend of the year. And across the stripe, Aaron Lichty wins in the C8 Corvette over Eric Magnussen by just 0.2 of a second. Then it's Emil Tab. Matan Rosenberg grabs 4th place over Waldbaum by a couple tenths of a second, actually by a second. So Waldbaum slipped up there in turn 14. Magnussen close though in this last corner. Takes a big send into turn 14. I don't think it's going to be enough though as they leave turn 14. Heading up the hill. Championship goal for Rosenberg to repeat what he did last season as they come up the hill to the checkered flag. Here they come. Watch the weekend points as well. This is how things will sort contact between Hurdle and Geraldo as they leave the final corner. Rosenberg beats Magnussen by just 0.2 of a second, and Waldbaum and Lichty 3rd and 4th. And watch the points here. Rosenberg 94 on the weekend. Magnussen 79. Emil Tab 77 points. He'll go home with a trophy in that MX-5 Miata.
Let's start it so strong for Tab, but Magnussen just